Tonight on Ctv3 News, Prime Minister John Briceño unveils bill to require hydropower assets and stake in Belize electricity, marking a new era of energy sovereignty. The opposition questions transparency and consumer benefits of government's hydroelectric and BEL share deal. Authorities launched death investigation after a body found in the Macau River who is believed to be that of missing UK citizen Edward Burke. And in the West, police detained 3 individuals after seizing firearm and ammunition during raid. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Friday, October 17, 2025.
Looking for quality, tasty, and easy to prepare meals? Look no farther. M&M Frozen Foods, proudly distributed by United Distributors Limited, brings you a wide range of delicious frozen delights, perfect for every occasion. From frozen pizzas, quesadillas, garlic bread, jumbo samosa, cocktail samosas, pizza pockets, spring rolls, and hack and noodles. M&M Frozen Foods is fresh, flavorful, and convenient for busy lifestyles. Whether you're planning a quick dinner, hosting a gathering, or stocking up for the week, M&M Frozen Foods has you covered. Available now at leading supermarkets and stores nationwide through United Distributors Limited. M&M Frozen Foods, extensive variety to satisfy every craving.
Attention farmers, the New World screwworm is a serious threat to livestock, pets, wildlife, and humans. It causes yield losses, damages the quality of meat and skins, and can even kill them if left untreated. Check your animals daily. If you see any wounds on them, treat them immediately. Prevention is key. Apply approved healing and fly repellents to the navel of newborn animals after dehorning, ear tagging, or any other practice that leaves wounds on your animals to ensure your animal's well-being. If you notice worms in unusual wounds, report them immediately. Call Baja at 824-4872 or text or WhatsApp 670-7003 or call your nearest Ministry of Agriculture office. And don't forget, never transport or receive animals with injuries. Together, we will prevent the spread of this dangerous disease. This message was brought to you by Baja, OIRSA, AICA, USDA, and the Ministry of Agriculture, Food Security, and Enterprise.
We are the Public Utilities Commission. Since 1999, we have regulated Belize's electricity, water, and telecommunication sectors, ensuring quality services at reasonable rates for consumers. A lot has changed since our establishment in 1999, and so have we. To reflect our evolution and future-focused vision, we are proud to introduce our new identity, where the blend of colors show our balanced and inclusive approach to regulation, where innovation, sustainability, and trust are all equally important. Orange represents the telecommunications sector and symbolizes innovation and connectivity. Green reflects the energy sector, sustainability, and national growth. Blue represents the water sector, highlighting trust, stability, and life-sustaining resources. White symbolizes transparency and accountability, core principles of the PUC. We are the Public Utilities Commission, transitioning to a new look, but our core values remain the same: accountability, excellence, integrity, innovation, and professionalism. Our logo is more than a design. It is our visual commitment to continue to serve the people of Belize with transparency, competence, and professionalism. We are the Public Utilities Commission.
For sure, this journey started long before September 1981. Indeed, we're all here because of the courage of our founders, the Maya, Creole, Garifuna, East Indian, Mestizo, and all who are sustained by the spirit and sacrifice of every generation. How beautiful it is that on this day, thousands of our citizens will join with friends and loved ones at parades and parties across this country to rejoice in the blessings of this land and people. As one people, we will work to build a better and brighter future.
Good evening. With your newscast also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7, I am Jaden Games. In a momentous move aimed at reshaping the nation's energy landscape, Prime Minister John Briceño today unveiled the Electricity Acquisition, Belize Hydroelectric Assets Bill of 2025 in the House of Representatives. The legislation seeks a supplementary budget allocation of 110 million US dollars, or 220 million Belizean dollars, to facilitate the strategic repurchase of key hydropower assets and a significant stake in Belize Electricity Limited, BEL, from Fortis Belize Limited and Fortis Inc. of Canada. The proposed acquisition, as mentioned yesterday, encompasses three major hydroelectric dams, Moyejon, Chalillo, and Vaca, alongside a 33.3% ownership share in BEL. The move is designed to restore control over vital energy infrastructure, reduce reliance on foreign entities, and promote sustainable development within Belize. According to Prime Minister Briceño, the total purchase price has been carefully negotiated, with an independent valuation setting the figure at 122 million US dollars by NERA. However, Fortis Belize Limited initially requested a higher sum. After negotiations, the final net purchase price stands at 110 million US dollars, which Briceño highlighted as a prudent and financially sound decision.
The final net purchase price is 110 million US dollars, which is approximately 6 times the 2024 net profits. So if you were to take the profits of 2024 and multiply it by 6 times, it would pay off that debt. In the case of BEL shares, the book value for the 40 shares at the close of 2024 was 62,611,826 million US dollars, or 125,223,652 million Belize dollars. That's a per share price of $5.45 Belize dollars. The final negotiated purchase price is 18 million US dollars, or 36 million Belize dollars, a share price of $1.56. from $5.44 to $1.56. So government's final purchase price taken together represents a discount of over 30% compared to the nearer valuation and the book value of Fortis Belize and BEL shares respectively.
Beyond the financials, Prime Minister Briceño emphasized the broader significance of the legislation.
First and foremost, the hydro plants, powered by Belizean waters, is returning to Belizean ownership so that Belizean shareholders will benefit from the electrical power and the profits it generates. From the standpoint of energy security, the standpoint of national security, the standpoint of having local control over the electrical power necessary for our livelihoods and our economy, these acquisitions, and in particular, the hydropower plant acquisition, is a monumental gain for Belize and Belizeans. I also wish to announce today that upon acquisition, government will eliminate the current 1.5% contractual increases each year in the cost of power sold to BEL by the hydro plants. When the contract was signed, Fortis skillfully included in that contract that every year the price would go up by 1.5%. We are going to remove that 1.5%. So this adjustment at full production capacity will save BEL and its customers, all of us Belizeans, an estimated $46 million from 2025 to 2060. Another important benefit of these acquisitions is that going forward, profits and dividends from the hydro plants and from BEL shares will remain in Belize, expanding the pool of resources available for savings and investments. In just the last 7 years, over $300 million have been repatriated in dividends proceeds. $300 million channeled out of the economy between these two investments. Furthermore, the Central Bank of Belize and commercial banks will no longer have to divert their foreign exchange receipts to satisfy this repatriation of profits and dividends out of the country. This new alignment will allow the foreign asset position to expand, further strengthening the Belize dollar and our fixed exchange peg. As a collateral benefit, actors such as the Social Security Board, the credit unions, the commercial bank, and institutional and individual investors will gain an investment source with stable, long-term results.
As the bill advances through parliamentary processes, all eyes are on Belize's bold pursuit of sovereignty over its energy resources, signaling a new era of self-reliance and national empowerment. Now, following the Prime Minister's presentation regarding the acquisition of hydroelectric facilities and Fortis shares in Belize Electricity Limited, BEL, opposition leader Tracy Panton raised what she deemed as serious concerns about the transparency of the deal. The opposition questioned whether an independent valuation of the assets was conducted, if a comprehensive cost-benefit analysis was performed, and whether regulatory approvals have been secured. Most importantly, they are asking whether this transaction will lead to lower electrical costs for consumers, a promise that remains unconfirmed in their view.
The government says that the acquisition of the shares and the 3 hydro plants is going to cost $130 million US. But the bill before us tells a much larger story. Again, it raises the Treasury bill limit from 400 million to 600 million, and the Treasury note ceiling from 1.2 billion to 1.6 billion. This, as I understand it, represents a 33% increase if we do the math overnight. And we bring this to the National Assembly with no forewarning. We hail the fact that when government takes hold of these assets, we will ensure that the annual 1.5% increase in the cost of hydroelectricity that was somehow slipped in there by Fortis will no longer apply. We didn't talk about the fact that these hydro facilities now receive an 85% return on their investment. So why would we wish to divest? I understand the need by this administration not to increase the debt to GDP ratio and not wanting to have that exposure, but it would make sense to me. It would make absolute sense to me that we don't divest the shares in these hydro facilities. Let's not forget, we borrowed $77 million from the Saudi fund to invest in renewable energy sources so that we don't have to depend on CFE, and that we can become more energy self-sufficient via renewable energy, where the hydro facilities do just that. They represent 31% of our consumption. And we are now going to divest it, hold on to it, so we can manage the rate on return. Because if the people of this country own these facilities via Hydro Belize or whatever the vehicle is, the people of Belize via its board can say, we don't need 85% return on investment. We knock it down to 25%, because that's still an astronomical return. Let's hold on to these facilities so that we can meaningfully contribute to the reduction of energy costs in this country. Instead, we have declared we're going to divest. And if we're real, the only entities that will be able to buy are these entities, these commercial partners as we put them, the banks, the credit unions, the insurance companies, and a few rich men or women, maybe 5, we could count on one hand, who will have the wherewithal to make that windfall on the return of this, on this investment, and from rub the salt in the wound. They don't want to pay no tax in perpetuity. Once you get it, it's yours. These agreements will go until 2060.
After the debate, the Prime Minister asked for a division where there were 17 in favor, 3 abstain, and 10 absent votes. The newly formed Hydro Belize Limited, headquartered in San Ignacio, Cayo District, will oversee the operations of these hydropower assets. Led by CEO Kay Menzies, the company comprises an entirely Belizean team of 48 staff members. The interim board will be chaired by Ambassador Lin Young, a seasoned veteran with extensive experience at BEL and Fortis Belize. October 1st marked a historic milestone for Belize as the country officially joined 3 other Caribbean nations, Barbados, the Dominican Republic, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, in enacting the full free movement of nationals across borders. The move represents a major step in advancing regional integration and cooperation under the Caribbean Community Framework, allowing citizens of these member states to live and work freely in each other's territories without the need for work permits. During his formal presentation, the House of Representatives today, Minister of Foreign Affairs Honorable Francis Fonseca, described the development as a historic and transformative moment for Belize and the region. While acknowledging that some concerns have been raised locally regarding the potential impact of the agreement, Minister Fonseca assured that the arrangement includes key safeguards to protect Belizean workers and ensure an orderly and secure implementation process.
The transition to full free movement goes beyond the previous limitations of movement by skill category. Citizens of these 4 countries can now live, work, and move freely without a work permit, without a skills certificate, and without restriction based on occupation. Belize has prepared carefully for this transition, adopting an administrative approach from commencement to ensure a smooth and secure rollout. This includes a monitoring phase to assess implementation and identify operational gaps, cabinet approval, and submission of a finalized bill to Parliament to formalize this arrangement in law, which is forthcoming. Implementation systems in place include a new indefinite stay stamp, which is in use at all ports of entry, affirming the rights of nationals from these participating member states to live and work in Belize. After registration with Social Security, nationals will be able to facilitate access to essential services such as education, healthcare, and social security. Security and health safeguards remain fully intact. Oversight measures ensure that individuals who pose a threat to public safety or who may become a burden on the state may be refused entry or removed in accordance with established procedures. In support of financial inclusion, the Central Bank of Belize has issued guidance to domestic banks to ensure that CARICOM nationals, their spouses, and dependents can access financial services once they have received their indefinite stay stamp. Public information materials have also been disseminated through the Government Press Office and social media platforms, while a CARICOM complaints mechanism is operational at all ports of entry to safeguard the rights of CARICOM nationals. This new phase of regional mobility builds on the foundation laid by the CARICOM free movement of skills regime, which for many years facilitated the movement of professionals in response to labor market demand. It also aligns with new regional initiatives, including an updated CARICOM labor market information system developed with support from the International Labour Organization, and the CARICOM labor and migration policy grounded in data from the Regional Labor and Migration Study.
In his address, Minister Fonseca also provided an update on Belize's ongoing negotiations with the United States regarding the country's possible designation as a safe third country. Under such an agreement, Belize would be recognized as a country where asylum seekers passing through its borders could be processed before seeking asylum in the U.S. Minister Fonseca further noted that discussions on this matter have been extensive and complex, but said negotiations are expected to conclude soon.
The agreement we are finalizing with the United States is such a framework for cooperation. It rests firmly on our international legal obligations. Under this agreement, asylum seekers in the United States could be transferred to Belize for the determination of their claim. The agreement we are finalizing contains multiple safeguards to protect the interests and security of Belize, including an unqualified veto over who is transferred to Belize, restrictions on the nationalities that could be transferred, a cap on the total transferees per annum, consideration of criminal records and professional skills. The agreement is for 2 years in the first instance, and either party can terminate or suspend at any time by providing written notice. Government insisted on these safeguards. We felt that they were necessary given capacity constraints to manage and support asylum seekers, given national security considerations and the unique characteristics of our small country. The agreement also provides, upon request, financial and technical support to strengthen the institutional capacities of the government of Belize. We are satisfied that the agreement aligns with our international obligations and can be effectively implemented from an operational point of view. Adjustments will be required to relevant legislation. What I can say further is that the agreement cannot come into force until and unless domestic legal procedures have been complied with, which means, Mr. Speaker, in accordance with Section 61A2 of the Constitution of Belize, the agreement, once entered into, will have to be ratified by the Senate.
The Foreign Affairs Minister reaffirmed that any final agreement will be guided by Belize's commitment to human rights, national security, and regional cooperation. Authorities have initiated a death investigation after a body was found in the Makal River, just days after a report was filed regarding the disappearance of Edward Rupert Rodney Burke, a 50-year-old citizen of the United Kingdom. Burke was reported missing on Wednesday, October 15th. The next day, Thursday, October 16th, law enforcement officials recovered a decomposed body from the river, which is believed to be that of Burke. The remains were transported to the National Forensic Science Service morgue for a post-mortem examination to establish the cause of death. At this stage, investigators have not confirmed the details surrounding Burke's death, and the case is still actively being examined. Coming up next, a tobacco control bill to protect citizens and youth from harmful effects. Stay tuned.
Vacancy. 2 vacancies exist at Sugar City Medical Center. Nurse, full-time. Requirements: ability to manage patients pre- and post-surgery, at least 2 years of experience, and bilingual. Pharmacist, full-time. Requirements: experience in a hospital ward setting, at least 1 year of experience, and bilingual. If you are interested in joining our amazing team, send CV, recommendation letter, police record, and current license to sugarcitymedicalcenter@gmail.com. Deadline for applications October 31st, 2025.
Hoy te vamos a contar un cuento basado en una historia real. Chao Dengue. Capítulo 1. Síntomas del dengue. Había una vez una familia que, sin saberlo, llevaba consigo un visitante no deseado. No era un monstruo ni un fantasma, pero sí algo que podía debilitar su cuerpo y robarle la energía. Pronto llegaron la fiebre, acompañada de dolor de cabeza, principalmente detrás de los ojos, dolor de cuerpo, náuseas y un sarpullido que se enrojecía por su piel. ¿Qué debían hacer en ese momento? Lo primero era no caer en la automedicación. En la mente del padre resonaban las palabras de los expertos. La clave está en buscar ayuda temprana. Así que, sin dudarlo, se dirigió a la unidad de salud más cercana, donde le brindaron la atención necesaria. Pero la historia no termina ahí. Si alguien en su familia también enfrentaba la misma situación, era enviado a su hogar con una lista de recomendaciones para ser cuidado allí. El reposo se convertía en su mejor escudo y la hidratación en su arma más poderosa. Abundante líquido y, sobre todo, sales de rehidratación oral serían sus aliados en la recuperación. La familia aprendió que la acción temprana podía marcar la diferencia para que esta historia tenga un final feliz. Y colorín colorado, la salud hay que cuidarla en todos lados.
The new designs for Belize's new banknotes have been revealed. But why are only two national figures featured on the banknotes? The individuals honored on our new banknotes have received Belize's highest distinction, the Order of the National Hero. As of January 2025, only two persons have been awarded this title. The Right Honorable George Cadle Price, regarded as the father of the nation, who was the first Prime Minister of Belize and renowned leader in our road to independence, and the Honorable Philip Stanley Wilberforce Golson, one of the longest-serving members of the House of Representatives, known for his unwavering stance on protecting and preserving Belize. By featuring these heroes, we honor their invaluable contributions to the development of our nation. New look, same value, heroes' legacy. Learn more at www.centralbank.org.bz. A message from the Central Bank of Belize.
Introducing Manna Flour, the heart of every wholesome recipe. Manna Flour brings perfection, taste, and nutrition straight to your kitchen. Available in 2, 3, and 5-pound bags for everyday cooking, and 20, 50, and 100-pound sacks for bakeries, restaurants, and big family events. Whether you're making tortillas, dumplings, or your grandma's secret bread recipe, Manna Flour rises to the occasion. Pure, organic, Caribbean. Make it with Manna. Proudly produced by Caribbean Organic Foodstuff Company Limited.
It is a pleasure really for me to join you here today in an important milestone in Belize's journey towards sustainable transportation, where we officially hand over these 3 intercity buses to the management contract awardee, the Westline Bus Company.
This project is directly aligned with Belize's raised ambition under its updated nationally determined contribution to the UN and its low emission development strategy. And we are very happy to support these national commitments and ensuring that Belize can meet its targets for climate action and for sustainable development as a whole, while modernizing its transport sector.
I'm happy that Westline was chosen as the first private partner of the government of Belize. We worked very hard in putting this project together. We think that it is about time that the transport industry in Belize improves.
We here, all of us, can share in the vision of one day in Belize very soon, in the next few years. We do not have to be subjected to a mediocre, substandard bus service for our people. One of the messages we'd want to take from here today is that when we work together, when we're not afraid to imagine and see that if we work together, we can turn these things into reality.
Is your internet struggling to reach every corner of your home? Say goodbye to dead zones. Introducing Villo, your ultimate solution for seamless internet coverage. Whether you're streaming, gaming, working from home, or scrolling through social media, Villo delivers a fast, reliable Wi-Fi where you need it most. As a valued Centaur internet customer, you can be one of the first to access Villo free of cost. For more information, call 380-0101.
Police in San Ignacio have taken into custody 3 individuals following the seizure of a firearm and a substantial amount of ammunition during a search operation on Friday morning. The operation took place around 10 a.m. at a residence situated on Maya Street in San Ignacio town. Present during the search were 2 men in their 20s and a woman in her 50s. During the raid, law enforcement officers uncovered a 9mm rifle-style firearm, specifically identified as a Givati brand weapon. In addition, they found 2 magazines, a drum magazine, and a total of 195 rounds of 9mm ammunition, along with 20 rounds of .223 caliber ammunitions, all concealed inside a bucket within one of the rooms. None of the individuals at the residence were able to produce valid firearm licenses. Consequently, the trio was detained and transported to the San Ignacio police station, where they await formal charges related to the unlicensed firearm and ammunition possession. A devastating accident in Belmopan has resulted in the death of an 18-year-old student. The incident occurred at approximately 5:20 p.m. on Thursday, October 16th, at the intersection of St. Jude and St. Matthew's Streets. Upon arrival, authorities discovered a damaged bus and a motorcycle submerged in a nearby drain. According to investigators, the bus, operated by 23-year-old Jonathan Estrada from San Ignacio town, was traveling along St. Matthew Street when it collided with the motorcycle traveling down St. Jude Street. The motorcycle was driven by Joni Cano, who was carrying his friend Jamin Pat, both of whom were students from the Stand Creek district. The force of the collision ejected both individuals from the motorcycle. Emergency responders rushed both students to the Western Regional Hospital. While the condition of Jamin Pat has not been publicly disclosed, Joni Cano was declared dead upon arrival. Estrada was unharmed in the crash. Authorities continue to investigate the circumstances surrounding the situation. The Minister of Health and Wellness, Honorable Kevin Bernard, today introduced a bill at the sitting of the House of Representatives aimed at strengthening Belize's efforts to protect citizens from the harmful effects of tobacco use. The Tobacco Control Bill seeks to provide for the adoption and implementation of tobacco control policies in line with the World Health Organization's Framework Convention on Tobacco Control. According to Minister Bernard, the proposed legislation is designed to protect present and future generations from the devastating health and economic consequences of tobacco use and exposure of tobacco smoke. The bill also aims to prevent tobacco use among children, safeguard workers and the public from secondhand smoke, and raise public awareness about the dangers associated with tobacco consumption. Additionally, the legislation calls for the creation of a national coordinated mechanism for tobacco control, ensuring a unified and sustained approach to enforcement, education, and public health protection.
In fact, tobacco is the only legal consumer product that, when used as directed by the manufacturers, kills 2/3 of consumers. That's a real fact. According to the WHO statistics, there are more than 1 billion smokers in the world, and 80% of them live in low and middle-income countries like Belize, where the burden of tobacco-related illness and death is heaviest. Tobacco kills more than 8 million people each year, with about 1.2 million deaths being non-smokers exposed to secondhand smoke. Globally, tobacco use is a leading risk factor for non-communicable diseases, including cancer, cardiovascular disease, chronic respiratory diseases, and diabetes. Mr. Speaker, in the Americas, tobacco use accounts for 11% of deaths from cardiovascular disease, 17% of cancer-related deaths, and 34% of deaths from chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder. For these reasons, we should be deeply concerned that in Belize, 8.7% of our adult population are tobacco users, while prevalence among young people ages 13 to 15 stands at approximately 15%, higher than the regional average of 9%. Now, in 2025, Mr. Speaker, we must contend not only with traditionally known tobacco products like cigarettes, but with the emergence of new nicotine products, particularly e-cigarettes, which are a growing concern with over 100 million global users, including at least 15 million adolescents. The prevalence of e-cigarettes use among our 13 to 15-year-old Belizean youth was last estimated to be an astounding 12%. We must act with urgency to save our youth. Mr. Speaker, colleagues, as lawmakers, we must understand that the tobacco epidemic is completely preventable with the implementation of effective legislation, policies, and programs. And today, the power of prevention starts with what we do. Let us approach this process with a sense of duty to our people, especially our children and young people.
The Ministry of Sustainable Development, Climate Change, and Solid Waste Management, through the Forest Department, has successfully secured a conviction in a wildlife case involving the illegal possession of protected species parts. On October 15, 2025, Mr. Jordan David Woods was found guilty in the Stanton Creek District Court for unlawful possession of forest produce, specifically 2 jaguar teeth, in violation of Section 19 of the Forest Act, Chapter 213 of the Laws of Belize, the Revised Edition 2017. Woods was fined $5,000 plus $5 in court costs. If not paid by October 15, 2026, he will face 6 months imprisonment. Section 19 of the Forest Act clearly states that no person shall possess or have in their custody any forest produce without lawful authority. This includes wildlife parts such as skin, claws, or teeth. Jaguars are a protected species in Belize, and any trade or possession of their body parts is strictly prohibited. The Forest Department extends sincere appreciation to the Belize Police Department and the Office of Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, for their support in bringing this case to justice. Special acknowledgement is given to Corporal Kyron Williams and her team, as well as George L. Gomez from the DPP's office for their diligence and teamwork throughout the legal process. This conviction is a clear reminder that Belize's environmental laws are in place to protect the country's rich biodiversity, and violations will have serious consequences. The Forest Department will continue to take firm action against anyone found engaging in wildlife crimes. The Forest Department urges the public to help safeguard the country's natural heritage. Anyone with information on illegal wildlife activities or human-wildlife conflicts is encouraged to call the Wildlife Hotline at 610-1524. In what is being hailed as a historic move for Belize's justice system, the Minister of Home Affairs and New Growth Industries, Honorable Karim Musa, today introduced a bill to establish the country's first ever DNA legislation. The DNA bill seeks to create a legal framework for the collection, storage, and use of DNA samples in the investigation and prosecution of indictable offenses. According to Minister Musa, the new legislation will modernize Belize's investigative capabilities and strengthen the country's criminal justice system. The bill provides for the management, retention, and destruction of DNA samples and DNA profiles, ensuring that proper safeguards and privacy protections are in place. It will also support investigations involving missing persons and unidentified deceased individuals, offering a scientific tool to assist families and law enforcement in bringing closure to long-standing cases. Importantly, the bill calls for the establishment of an independent oversight body to monitor the use and administration of the National DNA Database, ensuring transparency, accountability, and respect for citizens' rights.
This DNA bill aims to achieve the following improvements to our criminal justice system as part of the wider reform efforts envisaged in the Needham's Point Declaration. 1. To establish and operate a national DNA database in a manner that respects a person's bodily integrity, privacy, and dignity, and that is consistent with human rights under the Constitution. 2. To establish indices for the categorization and storage of DNA profiles in the National DNA Database. 3. To ensure that the personal data of a person whose DNA profile is entered in the National DNA Database is protected and not accessed or shared without the requisite permission. 4. To assist the authorities in carrying out an investigation with respect to an offense. 5. To provide reliable evidence for the purpose of prosecution of criminal offenses. And 6. To establish the administrative and procedural framework concerning the collection of the DNA samples, the issuance of a court order if consent is refused by a suspect, the removal of or destruction of DNA samples and DNA profiles held by the National Forensic Science Service or in the National DNA Database, the identification of missing persons and human remains, and the establishment of a DNA Oversight Committee. Mr. Speaker, this bill has undergone extensive review by local stakeholders for relevance and suitability to Belize's context. Mr. Speaker, this bill has the recommendation of Cabinet.
Once enacted, the DNA bill will place Belize among the growing number of countries utilizing genetic technology to advance public safety and the rule of law. There is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
Attention farmers. The New World screwworm is a serious threat to livestock, pets, wildlife, and humans. It causes yield losses, damages the quality of meat and skins, and can even kill them if left untreated. Check your animals daily. If you see any wounds on them, treat them immediately. Prevention is key. Apply approved healing and fly repellents to the navel of newborn animals after dehorning, ear tagging, or any other practice that leaves wounds on your animals to ensure your animals' well-being. If you notice worms in unusual wounds, report them immediately.
Depot, where you'll find premium quality products from trusted brands, all in one place. Visit us today for quality products, expert service, and the brands you trust. Design Depot, all in one place.
Oh man, one more scroll and my data is done.
Wait, who said anything about running out? Smart just dropped a more powerful plan that now includes social media data, so you can scroll till your fingers cramp.
Enjoy free social media data now included in our Flex Choice and Select postpaid plans.
Visit any Smart showroom to sign up today because connectivity just got even better. Smart, bringing people together.
During the ongoing annual meetings of the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the World Bank Group in Washington, D.C., Belize has taken a significant step forward in representing small states on the global development stage. Today, Belize officially assumed the chairmanship of the Small States Forum of the World Bank for the period January 2026 to December 2028. The honor was bestowed upon Belize's Prime Minister, Honorable John Briceño, who expressed his commitment to advocating for the unique needs of small economies. The Small States Forum, an annual event held concurrently with the IMF and World Bank meetings, serves as a vital platform for dialogue on development issues specific to small states. It provides an important space for countries with limited economic sizes to highlight their vulnerabilities, including susceptibility to economic and environmental shocks. Moreover, the forum champions a tailored approach by the World Bank Group to address the distinctive challenges faced by these nations. Belize's assumptions of leadership comes at a crucial juncture as the World Bank Group works toward finalizing a comprehensive strategy aimed at better responding to the needs of small states. The draft strategy acknowledges ongoing challenges such as volatile economic growth, limited job creation, and youth unemployment, especially within the private sector. The strategy aims to craft targeted solutions to bolster resilience and promote sustainable development in small economies. The transfer of leadership took place during a dedicated meeting of the Small States Forums, convened to review and expedite the finalization of this strategic framework. Prime Minister Honorable John Briceño addressed the gathering via a pre-recorded video message, expressing his gratitude for Belize's new role and reaffirming the country's dedication to ensuring small states receive the specialized support they require through effective, fit-for-purpose programs from the World Bank. Belize succeeded the Republic of Cabo Verde in leading the forum, signaling a continued commitment among small nations to collaborate on shared challenges and solutions. Special Olympics Belize has officially nominated Minister Tia Garcia Ramirez as Belize's global ambassador to the Global Coalition for Inclusion. This prestigious nomination recognizes Minister Garcia Ramirez's unwavering commitment to advocacy for inclusion, equality, and the empowerment of persons with disabilities across Belize. Her leadership has played a pivotal role in shaping national policies and initiatives aimed at fostering social inclusion and protecting the rights of all Belizeans, especially those who are most vulnerable. Expressing her gratitude, Minister Garcia Ramirez thanked Special Olympics Belize for the honor and reaffirmed the ministry's dedication to building a more inclusive society. She emphasized the importance of continued collaboration in promoting opportunities and rights for persons with disabilities. The Global Coalition for Inclusion is a global alliance of leaders and advocates dedicated to promoting inclusive practices in education, health, and community life for persons with intellectual disabilities. The coalition's work aligns with Belize's ongoing efforts to create a society where everyone has equal accesses and opportunities. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Monday, October 20th, here on Ctv3 News and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at www.ctv3belize.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belize news. Or you can visit our YouTube channel at CTV3 News BZ. From all of us here at CTV3, have a safe and pleasant weekend. Thank you for watching and listening. Have a spectacular night.